know your credit score? Have you checked it lately? Do you even know where to find it? Well, Discover Card is changing all that. Because Discover is the only credit card that gives you your FICO credit score for free on your statement and online. It doesn't get much easier than that. And knowing your credit score is important. It can have a real impact when you're looking for a car, renting an apartment, or even buying a home. It's just another way we treat you like you'd treat you. Discover Card. Free FICO credit score online and on your statement. To get yours, go to discover.com or call 1-800-DISCOVER. Limitations apply.
Geico Motorcycle presents Reflections from the Road.
You can't beat the open road, but saving money on motorcycle insurance is a close second. That's why I switched to Geico. Reminds me of the time I switched to a new helmet without a face mask and swallowed a bunch of gnats when I accidentally yawned. Those suckers tasted bad. Unlike Geico motorcycle savings, which always taste real good.
Geico Motorcycle Insurance. See how much you could save.
Excellent Italian food is found at Spaghetti Eddie's, a neighborhood restaurant with a great family atmosphere and delicious Italian cuisine. Define Spaghetti Eddie's. New York-style pizza, pasta, subs, calzones, soup, salads will bring you back again and again. Log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com and visit them at Greenbrier and Western Branch. Quality Italian food is at Spaghetti Eddie's.
Hello, this is Big Bear inviting you to visit myself and Grandma Bear at Little Bear's Consignment Boutique, where you'll find the best new and gently used children's brand name clothing and equipment. Clothing from newborn to teens, dresses, suits, shoes, strollers, bassinets, toys, and anything else you need. Little Bear's is your stop. We even carry maternity clothes. Check us out on Facebook or stop in 200 North Battlefield Boulevard in the Harbor Watch Shops of Chesapeake near the locks. Little Bear's Consignment Boutique, where you're always greeted with a smile.
Chesapeake, Virginia, 1650 AM WHKT presents Sports Scene. Sports Scene features local, regional, and nationally acclaimed guests and excellent interviews. Follow Sports Scene on Twitter at Greg Bick and at GJBTV.com. Now here is Greg Bicouvaris.
And thank you very much, Ken Johnson, on this very balmy, rainy Christmas Eve in Hampton Roads. Safe travels to everyone on the road. And, of course, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year to everyone. We'll be back next Wednesday for our New Year's Eve edition from 12 to 1. This is Sports Scene on the radio, 1650 AM on TuneIn.com. Type in WHKT to listen on your phone or your computer. Tell your friends about CBS News and News Talk 1650. Twitter, find me and interact at Greg Bick, at Sports Highlight, at GJBTV, and HROnlineMall.com. Thank you to our military 24/7, and of course to all the first responders as well. Great sponsors on GJBTV.com as well as HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com, your place to browse, shop, and visit 24/7. Phone line presented by Spaghetti Eddie's in Chesapeake with 2 locations. Of course, we'll be having highlights, our testimonials from Soprano, and of course, great time to spend time with your friends and family during this holiday season. And peace to all. That's the biggest thing. Just peace to everyone. Put out the drama, put out the toxicity. Just have fun during this holiday season. Don't drink and drive, because we want to see you back for 2015. A lot of great guests. Lock it in right here. Tell your friends. Sports Scene is coming up right here on News Talk 1650. Stay tuned. The place people look for their holiday light needs are NRA Holiday Lights. Let the professionals at NRA decorate the exterior of your home and business without you lifting a hand. Get $100 off a $1,000 purchase. Call 355-5276 and log on to NRA.com. Light up your home or business this holiday season with NRA. Call 355-5276 today. The place for authentic Indian food is the India Palace. They feature authentic Indian cuisine, have a party hall, and do catering and banquets. Open daily for lunch and dinner, they showcase an excellent lunch buffet at their Chesapeake and Virginia Beach locations. Visit their 2 locations at 1437 Sam's Drive in Chesapeake off of Battlefield Boulevard and 5600 Virginia Beach Boulevard in Virginia Beach, and online at IndiaPalaceVB.com. On Facebook, look for India Palace Virginia Beach and India Palace Bar and Grill. Dine at the India Palace today.
Hello, this is Big Bear inviting you to visit myself and Grandma Bear at Little Bear's Consignment Boutique, where you'll find the best new and gently used children's brand name clothing and equipment. Clothing from newborn to teens. Dresses, suits, shoes, strollers, bassinets, toys, and anything else you need. Little Bear's is your stop. We even carry maternity clothes. Check us out on Facebook or stop in 200 North Battlefield Boulevard in the Harbor Watch Shops of Chesapeake near the locks. Little Bear's Consignment Boutique, where you're always greeted with a smile.
Discover what the locals already know. The place for the finest donuts and ice cream in Virginia Beach is Crazy Good Donuts and Ice Cream. Strawberry, chocolate, and lemon are just some of the icings you can choose from for your donut. Milkshakes, cones, sundaes, you get the picture. Yum! Buy 12 dozen donuts, get the 13th dozen free as part of the Baker's Dozen Club. Get a breakfast sandwich, the best donuts, the finest ice cream in half the roads, and leave with a smile on your face. Coffee and tea is best with a tasty bacon maple donut. Now through January 4th, buy a $25 gift card and receive a half dozen donuts coupon for free. Valid January 5th through March 31st. Crazy Good Donuts and Ice Cream is open starting at 6 a.m. all day at 2201 Upton Drive in Virginia Beach and Red Mill Walk. Like Crazy Good Donuts and Ice Cream on Facebook, and for more, log on to crazygooddonuts.com. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
Rack City chick, 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 10.
You know, everywhere you go, you hear holiday music. I was actually at a restaurant last night, Ken. I didn't hear any holiday music. That was surprising.
None at all.
None.
Nobody was even humming it.
No, that was just the only place I didn't hear it. But anyway, let's talk about what's going on this holidays. Week 17 of the NFL season is here. All kinds of postseason implications. A lot of teams are already locked in. One team that's not going to the postseason this year is the San Francisco 49ers. And of course, we all know about the drama here locally with the Redskins, but the 49ers have had some undercurrents as well. And we want to welcome Matt Maiocco from CSN Bay Area. Matt, how are you, my friend?
Oh, yeah, the stuff that's happening in Washington is minor league stuff as opposed to what's going on with the 49ers. Jim Harbaugh, 3 years as coach, NFC Championship game, 3 years, Super Bowl once, and then year 4, everything has really unraveled both off the field, on the field, and at some point shortly after the season, I would say Monday or Tuesday, he will no longer be the coach of the 49ers.
Well, listen, before we dive into that real deep here, usually it's the Raiders with all the drama, but ever since the late Al Davis passed away, it seems like they've been pretty quiet. Sure, they change coaches almost seems like every year, every other year too, but, this is different for the Bay Area because now it's the 49ers, and we all know head coaches have type AAA personalities. Is Harbaugh that difficult to work with?
Yeah, he is, and, I don't know that ever came as a surprise to the 49ers. I think they knew what they were getting when they hired him, but they also knew the guy is a heck of a coach and had a track record of turning around programs quickly, and that's exactly what he did with the 49ers. And I almost think kind of as definition of a coach coming in to change culture, you're going to ruffle some feathers, you're going to anger some people, you're going to get people annoyed at you, and that's certainly what's happened with Jim Harbaugh to the point where management and ownership, this union can last another season. He's in the 4th year of a 5-year contract. He's not going to, they're not going to allow him to enter into the final year lame duck coach, and so there are other options for him. I think the 49ers would be fine if he took that Michigan job. If he decides to stay in the NFL, the 49ers would love to be able to get some form of draft pick compensation for him. So that's where we are right now. And to my knowledge, Jim has not yet made a decision on what his next step is going to be.
Matt Maiocco joining us right here from CSN Bay Area. Greg Bicouvaris live with you on Sports Scene at 12:14. Happy holidays to everyone. You look at the records, folks. 11, he was 13-3, 12, 11, 4-1, 13, 12, 4. This year he's 7-8. And you never hear no drama though from Roman or Fangio or his assistant coaches. Does he get along pretty well with his assistants?
I think so. I mean, I think he can grind away, and I'm sure they have their moments. But I think mostly with the defensive staff, he lets Vic Fangio run the show. I mean, in a lot of ways, Vic Fangio is the head coach of the defense. So, what's interesting is that when Jim took over, obviously someone who's played quarterback in the NFL for 14 years has an idea of how an offense should run. It was the defense that was always kind of led the way with the 49ers. And the offense, basically the entire job of the offense is kind of to stay out of the way and just make sure that they don't make the negative plays that prevent you from winning. So the offense really has been unremarkable this season. And, it's kind of tough to pinpoint, why that is. They've had injuries for sure on offense, but they've had more injuries on defense. The offense just never really found a rhythm. Colin Kaepernick hasn't taken that next step into elite status as far as NFL quarterbacks. So, there are a lot of questions here of what went wrong in a season that everybody had hopes would end in Glendale, Arizona, first Sunday in February, playing for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it seemed like this whole lame duck status season has affected Kaepernick, Gore, Bolden, the entire team. It's toxic. It's definitely toxic. But you look at Harbaugh, who played at Michigan, who, of course, he coached at Stanford, went to the 49ers. If he went to the Raiders, he wouldn't have to even leave his house. That would be a perfect ideal situation. He was an assistant with the Raiders. It seems like to me still, Matt, he wants to be an NFL coach. It just seems like that. He was so close to the Super Bowl.
No, I agree. The way I've kind of summed it up is all things being equal, he wants to be an NFL coach, and he wants to win at the highest level. He wants to compete for a Lombardi Trophy. He wants to win the Lombardi Trophy that escaped his grasp a couple of years ago and ended up in his brother's hands. But Michigan, it appears very determined not to make things equal. Mm-hmm. They're bending over backwards. They've extended a hefty contract to him. In the words of General Manager Trent Baalke yesterday, Michigan has gone through the proper channels. They contacted the 49ers. That remains out there. They're putting together the case of the history. Often Jim Harbaugh refers to Bo Schembechler, even today, when he's talking about certain coaching scenarios that come up or philosophical type of things. It's not uncommon for him to quote Bo Schembechler. Heck, yesterday was Jim Harbaugh's birthday, and on Twitter he got a happy birthday message from at UM football. So the University of Michigan making a strong play and trying to convince Jim, and it might work, to push aside all the NFL temptations and come back to Ann Arbor.
Absolutely. Final question or so right here with Matt Maiocco from CSN Bay Area. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us on the radio. You talk about greats like Montana, Brody Young. I don't think Kaepernick's quite in that category with those guys, but York has been pretty quiet during this as well. He hasn't said as much. We've heard a lot about Baalke, but not as much by York.
Yeah, I mean, he's been publicly, he's been quiet except for a few ill-timed tweets, including one before the game had even finished on Thanksgiving night, talking about how much of an embarrassment it was, and he apologized for the 49ers' performance, which I think a lot of people interpreted as a direct shot across the bow of Jim Harbaugh. Mm-hmm. And even Jim Harbaugh, chose his words carefully when talking about Jed York's apology tweet by saying that his job is to move forward without excuses and without apologies. So,
right.
I think it all kind of comes back to, the owner. Mm-hmm. The owner, he's the CEO, son of the owners, Denise DeBarlo York and John York. He's going to do whatever he wants, and he's going to make the final call. As much as the general manager might want to fire the head coach, it's ultimately the owner's call, because the owner has to decide that the general manager is the one that he wants to keep. He's already decided that, and so when that decision comes down, in, like I said, probably Monday or Tuesday, whatever the decision is, whether he's fired, released from his duties to go coach Michigan or whatever the case may be, whether he's traded, whatever the scenario is. And at this point, it's kind of difficult to predict exactly what the end game is going to be. But the ultimate call will be Jed York's call to allow Jim Harbaugh and the 49ers to go in their separate directions.
Matt, thank you so much for joining us right there. 2015 will be determined who will be the new 49ers coach. Nobody's talked about that either, but we'll find out. We hope to get you back on sometime in the first quarter of the year.
All right, Greg. Thank you very much for having me.
Happy holidays, Matt.
Okay, you too. Thank you.
Very good. All right, let's transition Ken Johnson over to locally stuff. That was Matt Maiocco from CSN Bay Area talking about Harbaugh and all the drama with the 49ers. Yes, more drama than just the Redskins are going through, even though the Redskins are 4-11. Let's welcome Andy Hilton. He used to have him on the game all the time from Recruit 757. Andy, Merry Christmas to you, my friend.
Merry Christmas, Greg. Thanks for having me on Sports Scene.
Very good. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Good to hear your voice as well. And Andy, let's start off, first of all, with the most recent thing here, the All-Star game. It seems like there was a lot of drama. A lot of basketball coaches didn't like it. The big question was, why?
Well, the basketball season is underway, so you have football season that typically ends with the state championship games. This All-Star game gave the players one more chance to showcase hopefully to be recruited for college. And the big downside for basketball coaches is you have a lot of multi-sport athletes. So you have athletes that play not only football, but those football players will play basketball. They'll run track. They'll do a lot of things in the off season. It's indoor track season in addition to basketball season. So those coaches want those players for themselves once football season ends.
Yeah, it seemed like it wasn't really that well put together, in my opinion. I'll just say that, no matter where it was in the state. Let's talk about, first of all, the recent champions from the South Side.
Well, the champions, we mean as far as our state champions,
yes.
We have Lake Taylor and we have Ocean Lakes. Lake Taylor won 4A, Ocean Lakes won 6A. Both teams went through the season undefeated. They were juggernauts. It's funny, there's a little story with Lake Taylor for those that haven't been keeping up with high school football. Lake Taylor was almost done in their semifinal game when Monacan blocked a field goal attempt at the end of the game, celebrated their win, only to have Lake Taylor pick up the blocked field goal and essentially walk it into the end zone to win the game. That kept Lake Taylor alive. They went on to dominate. In fact, they were the only team at all 6 levels of state championship play to dominate their state championship game. Every other game was close, including Ocean Lakes.
Yeah, it seems like all these divisions are watered down. As we're talking to Andy Hilton from Recruit 757. Greg Bicouvaris, glad you're with us at Sports Scene at 1222 on the radio on 1650 AM on TuneIn.com. Type in WHKT to listen anywhere on your phone or your computer, as we just got feedbacks from people from Pittsburgh are listening right now as well. So always good to hear them as well, Steubenville, Ohio. Andy, you talk about Oscar Smith. They always get the hype, the national TV games, but like you said, Lake Taylor's got a good program as well.
Well, certainly they do. Oscar Smith has been strong for 11 straight years they've won their district since Rich Morgan came on board. Lake Taylor has had 2 state championship teams out of the last 3 years. Ocean Lakes has been to the state championship also 2 out of the last 3 years, won it for the first time this year. So it seems like there's never been a better time for football in the 757. The old school guys will certainly debate that, but we're seeing a lot of great talent here, a lot of great teams, and a lot of recruiting going on that has players going to big-time college.
Well, let's talk about the first big-time recruiting with as far as the national class.
Well, the national class is looking extremely good. We would consider Josh Sweat, locally of Oscar Smith, as part of that class. He went to Florida State. Virginia Tech would have loved to have had him, but Virginia Tech is doing well this year, recruiting the area and recruiting nationally. Probably the biggest recruit right now that's uncommitted is offensive tackle Martez Parks, who's out of Apopka, Florida. It's looking like Florida will be the favorite. So as far as recruiting on the national scene, the big schools continue to get the big-time recruits.
Very good. Well, let's talk about Virginia and Virginia Tech. It seems like London's back, even though he had a losing record again.
Well, yeah, and that's the nice thing for UVA, but it also hurt UVA recruiting, at least locally, that we've seen. We only have 2 local recruits committed to UVA. That's Giovanni Simmons, linebacker out of Ocean Lakes, and also defensive end, tight end Richard Burney out of Hickory. Giovanni Simmons, rated by some as a 4-star, some as a 3-star, but if you consider him as a 4-star, he's probably the best recruit that UVA has in this class, and that's that really pales in comparison. This class pales in comparison to last year's class that had top 10 in the nation Quinn Blanding and not number one recruit, but certainly Gatorade National Football Player of the Year Andrew Brown from last year's class. It's kind of hard to follow that, hard to top that, and Mike London has struggled a little bit with recruiting, especially here in the 757, just because of the tenuous nature of his job.
Yeah, even Beamer, he had a mediocre year as well. And you mentioned on a text earlier about Martez Parks from Florida.
Well, and Martez Parks is a favorite for University of Florida at this point. Josh Sweat was a favorite of Tech. He he had it down to 5 schools. It was viewed that Tech may be one of the favorites and Florida State may be one of the favorites. Florida State won out, but even though Tech didn't get Sweat, who was at one time the number 1 recruit in the nation until he had a knee injury back in September and could not finish his high school season, his senior season, Tech has still done very well. They have, I believe, 9 recruits in the state of Virginia committed for this class, a class of 21 so far. They have a few open slots left, and they've gotten some great players out of the Hampton Roads area, 4 total already.
Yeah, Tech did make a bowl game. Virginia did not. Talking to Andy Hilton. Andy, go ahead and plug your Twitter handle and all your relevant information.
Well, certainly. It's Andy Hilton. I'm with Recruit757. We have Recruit757 on Twitter, Recruit757 on Instagram, and on Facebook. We update you, the public, regularly on recruiting, specifically on football, here in the 757 area and beyond.
It seems like the media promotes Twitter more than Facebook. It seems like Facebook's still more of the social stuff. Yes, it's good to promote on Facebook, but it seems like the TV networks and the radio networks are primarily just promoting Twitter now. Do you notice that?
Well, Twitter seems to be a quick way, of course, in 140 characters to get the word out. And typically whenever we have something new on recruit757.com, the website, we put it out in all phases of social media so that those that are dialed in any way are able to keep up to date on what we have going on. Plus, when we do games, I have a team, a staff that's out at a majority of the games locally. So on a Friday night, you can check our updates on Twitter, and we'll keep the scores streaming on Twitter.
Yeah, it seemed like for a while the Peninsula was caught up with the South Side with Hampton, Bethel, Phoebus, Heritage, Woodside, but it seems like now the South Side definitely has the better schools and football, better programs. They've continually evolved on the South Side where Hampton and Phoebus have not evolved since Dee and Sexton left, especially for Phoebus. Hampton's been mediocre the last several years, so has Bethel. Kecoughtan's improved, but not like the South Side schools.
No, the Peninsula District was really anybody's district this year, and Heritage actually came up and won the district with a 9-1 regular season record, dropping their only game to Bethel. But you're right. It's been, I wouldn't say mediocrity, but certainly parity amongst those schools because no one has a truly dominant team. I think you might see that change in the coming years. You've got a lot of good recruits at Peninsula schools, including the first one that jumps to mind is Robbie Robinson of Phoebus. There is some talent. There's just not the depth of talent at the Peninsula schools that we're seeing at the Southside schools at this point.
That was the name of our guest last week, Robbie Robinson, but he's the voice of VCU. He was a pitcher for UVA's baseball team. Ironic how a common name that is. Talking to Andy Hilton, final few moments. Of course, Old Dominion, they've evolved. They went 6-6. It still seems like when they play the bigger teams, they run out of gas in the fourth quarter. Depth still seems to be an issue. I guess another recruiting year at that level will definitely help.
Well, certainly they've been recruiting good 1AA players, Division I FCS level. They've gotten some great players for that level. Now that they've stepped up to the level of competition, they have to have bigger, stronger, faster players, and they're building that, but it's going to take a couple of years for them to rise to the level of the talent they're having to compete against. Locally, Old Dominion already has 6 recruits from the current class. They did a lot of their work early and pretty much have their class wrapped up for 2015. But when you look at what Old Dominion has brought in versus what Virginia Tech and UVA have brought in locally, really, UVA and Tech together have 6. Old Dominion has 6. They're still doing a fantastic job getting the best players they can from the 757.
All right, Andy, what are you going to be working on in the final few months before when is the deadline for recruiting here?
Well, there is no true deadline. Many look at National Signing Day, which is the first Wednesday in February, as a deadline. It's really the first day that recruits from the 2015 class can sign their letters of intent and lock in what school they'll be attending. A lot of the things that we're working on right now, we have the all 757 team that's going to be coming out over the Christmas holiday, as well as we have an all 757 junior team and an all 757 freshman sophomore team. So there's a lot of work that we're doing right now, compiling lists, putting things together, and honoring some of the best talent here in the 757.
Andy, we'll talk to you after the first of the year. Happy holidays to you and your family, and always enjoy talking to you, my friend.
Thank you, Greg. It was great having me. Great to be on Sports Scene. I appreciate you having me. Have a wonderful holiday.
You too. Andy Hilton from Recruit 757. Matt Maiocco. Ken, we got some really good guests right there to lead it off, talking NFL, talking high school and college, and, of course, weather, traffic coming up in CBS News.
And as far as the traffic goes, it's a mess out there. If you don't have to be out and around today, if you're doing some last-minute shopping, you have my sympathy. It is rainy, nasty, roads are slippery, reduced visibility. We even had some fog still around the James River Bridge, so it's treacherous driving. Just exercise some caution. No bridge openings on the schedule, and right now, at last check, no incidents being reported. Thunderstorms in the forecast for this afternoon. Some of those may be severe. A high of 70 degrees. Scattered thunderstorms tonight, 56. Morning clouds tomorrow with afternoon sun, a high of 57 degrees. Why go down to Florida for Christmas? You can just stay here. Sunny skies for Friday, a high of 56 degrees. CBS News is next. It's 12:31. Stay tuned for more sports.
CBS News Update. I'm Peter King. Last night in Berkeley, Missouri, angry protests after a white police officer shot and killed a young black suspect in a convenience store theft. But unlike the Michael Brown incident in nearby Ferguson, this man was armed. St. Louis County Police Chief John Belmar.
The individual produced a pistol with his arm straight out, pointing at the officer from kind of across the hood of the police car.
KMOX reporter Brian Kelly.
They are saying that it does appear that the officer was justified in what he had to do in that case. And as far as the demonstrations that followed, Chief John Belmar of St. Louis County Police said that he's disturbed that people brought incendiary items, including a couple of large, what appear to be fireworks that were set off in the middle of the crowd.
Police are looking for a second man they call a person of interest, Berkeley Mayor Theodore Hoskins.
We don't have major crime in this city. This is unique.
CBS News Update. I'm Peter King.
The restaurant we've all been waiting for is here. Introducing Ipan Mano Kitchen. Critically acclaimed chef Silva Sennett and his culinary team specialize in new American Asian cuisine. The very best in Chinese, Japanese, Thai food with an American flair. Open daily for lunch and dinner, Ipan Mano Kitchen is located inside the Patrick Henry Mall in Newport News. Call 249-0033 and log on to ipanmanokitchen.com. Find them on Twitter at ipanmano.
The place people look to for their holiday light needs is Interray Outdoor Lights. Let the professionals at Interray decorate the exterior of your home and business without you lifting a hand. Get $100 off a $1,000 purchase. Call 355-5276 and log on to Interray.com. Light up your home or business this holiday season with Interray. Call 355-5276 today.
The place for authentic Indian food is the India Palace. They feature authentic Indian cuisine, have a party hall, and do catering and banquets. Open daily for lunch and dinner, they showcase an excellent lunch buffet at their Chesapeake and Virginia Beach locations. Visit their two locations at 1437 Sam's Drive in Chesapeake off of Battlefield Boulevard and 5600 Virginia Beach Boulevard in Virginia Beach, and online at IndiaPalaceVB.com. On Facebook, look for India Palace Virginia Beach and India Palace Bar and Grill. Dine at the India Palace today.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio. It's now time for Greg's Highlights presented by Hampton Roads Online Mall.com Marketplace Pages.
And happy holidays to everyone. Don't forget on Twitter at Greg Bick. That's GREGBIC. And of course, HROnlineMall.com, GJB TV, and of course Sports Highlight. You can find archive shows by going to gjbtv.com, hit the YouTube link, and also for Sports Highlights, go to nnpstv.com. Save the date for Sports Scene every Wednesday from 12 to 1, right here on the radio, 1650 AM. Also on TuneIn.com, type in WHKT, find me on Facebook, add me at Greg Bicouvaris as well. Shop on the Marketplace sponsors on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. We We got our business spotlight scenes coming up. Of course, what teased me off. Sports highlights we mentioned on nnpstv.com. Great guest so far. Matt Maiocco from CSN Bay Area talking about the 49ers and the future of Coach Harbaugh. Andy Hilton was one talking about Recruit 757 as well. I want to tell you about a testimonial from Soprano Italian Restaurant in Newport News at 12588 Warwick Boulevard. Go by and see Moody and the staff. Give them a call at 930-2350. That's 930-2350. Great pizza, pasta, and subs, sandwiches, all the great food you want. Lunch, dinner, open daily, walk-ins welcome, great for kids and family at Soprano Italian Restaurant in Newport News. Of course, college football bowl season, almost too many bowls, but the big ones are next New Year's Day with the Final Four, and then the national championship coming up after that as well. Playoff scenarios, Week 17, Redskins will be hosting the Cowboys Sunday at 1 o'clock on Fox. Stay tuned. We'll be back after these messages.
Discover what the locals already know. The place for the finest donuts and ice cream in Virginia Beach is Crazy Good Donuts and Ice Cream. Strawberry, chocolate, and lemon are just some of the icings you can choose from for your donut. Milkshakes, cones, sundaes, you get the picture. Yum! Buy 12 dozen donuts, get the 13th dozen free as part of the Baker's Dozen Club. Get a breakfast sandwich, the best donuts, the finest ice cream in half the roads, and leave with a smile on your face. Coffee and tea is best with a tasty bacon maple donut. Now through January 4th, buy a $25 gift card and receive a half dozen donuts coupon for free. Valid January 5th through March 31st. Crazy Good Donuts and Ice Cream is open starting at 6 a.m. all day at 2201 Upton Drive in Virginia Beach and Red Mill Walk. Like Crazy Good Donuts and Ice Cream on Facebook, and for more, log on to crazygooddonuts.com.
Hello, this is Big Bear inviting you to visit myself and Grandma Bear at Little Bear's Consignment Boutique, where you'll find the best new and gently used children's brand name clothing and equipment. Clothing from newborn to teens, dresses, suits, shoes, strollers, bassinets, toys, and anything else you need. Little Bear's is your stop. We even carry maternity clothes. Check us out on Facebook or stop in 200 North Battlefield Boulevard in the Harbor Watch Shops of Chesapeake near the locks. Little Bear's Consignment Boutique, where you're always greeted with a smile.
Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
All right, thank you very much, Ken Johnson. Glad you're with us right here on Sports Scene. Save the date every Wednesday from 12 to 1 on News Talk 1650. Your home for CBS News. Also, tunein.com. Type in WHKT. For my background, go to gjbtv.com as well. Want to thank our first sports guest as well, Matt Maiocco from CSN Bay Area, and Andy Hilton for the second guest from Recruit 757. Of course, we have our business spotlight scenes. Let's welcome now Tom Wilburn. How are you, Tom?
Hey, I'm doing great, Greg. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
To you as well, my friend. And, of course, Tom, you can see his link on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Tom, tell us about your business, about what you've been doing.
Well, the name of my company is The Dent Pro, and I provide paintless dent repair, which is the removal of small dents and door dings. The service is mobile, and I come to you, and basically it saves you money, saves you time, and it saves the factory warranty of your car. Mm-hmm. Been doing this since 1996, and I pride myself on customer satisfaction. If you're not completely satisfied, there's no charge for the repair.
What a timely day on a rainy day like this, when probably the traffic is the busiest of the year next to Thanksgiving Eve. Boy, oh boy, when you need somebody, call Tom Wilburn at Dent Pro at 757-310-8417. That's 757-310-8417. What area do you service, Tom?
Well, I service the peninsula, which is Newport News, Hampton, Yorktown and Williamsburg, Smith, Hilton, Suffolk. I live in Gloucester and service the Gloucester area, and I service the south side by appointment on the weekends. So if somebody out there has a dent or a door ding, I would encourage you to take a picture of it with your cell phone and text it to 757-310-8417. And I will get back with you with a quote and the possibility if it's in fact repairable. If you were to do that, please include where you're located and the year and make of your vehicle.
Please tell us how people can get involved with you as far as your website and any other social media.
Absolutely. You can find me on Facebook. Just search for The Dent Pro, and you'll find my Facebook page. Or you can find me on the Internet. My website is www.thedentpro.biz, B-I-Z. I have over 100 five-star reviews from customers over the last 4 years. I've got before and after pics of what's repairable. I've even made some slideshow presentations on my website. And I'm accredited by the Better Business Bureau, and I belong to the Gloucester Chamber of Commerce.
Very good. Talking right here to Tom Wilburn from the Dent Pro. His phone number is 757-310-8417. Of course, it happens a lot too, Tom. You see it in shopping centers a lot as well, those dents.
Yeah, and, it's an unfortunate fact. A lot of folks out there like to maintain their vehicles. I mean, it's expensive nowadays to buy a car, and most people are holding on to their vehicles. And if you're thinking about possibly trading one in to upgrade what you have, you might want to go ahead and take care of those dents to help offset, the trade-in value, give you more for your trade. And if you're someone who likes what you have and you like to keep it right, and unfortunately we can't always control what happens to our vehicles when it's in a commuter parking lot or in a parking garage or even in a grocery or mall parking lot. The unfortunate dents do happen, but fear not. Most of my repairs are less than your insurance deductible, and like I said, satisfaction is guaranteed because I know enough about what's repairable that I can assure you without a doubt in my mind that your satisfaction is guaranteed, or like I said, there's no charge for the repair.
Absolutely. Of course, you can see his link on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. That's HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, and visit, folks. There's something for everyone in all the marketplace pages. Tom Wilburn's phone number is 310-8417. Tom, all the best for your holiday season. Once again, give us one more final plug for the Dent Pro.
Yeah, if I could just let your listeners know, I give a 20% discount to standard door dings to military members, the police, the fire department, educators, people that work the shipyards, firefighters, and senior citizens. And once again, you can find me at www.thedentpro.biz, or you can call me or text me on my phone, 757-310-8417.
Very good. All the best, my friend, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you, Greg. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year, and have a safe holiday. Thank you again.
Always a pleasure. Okay, Tom Wilburn right there from the Dent Pro, Ken Johnson. Of course, this time of the year, you see it in shopping centers and malls. People just get impatient.
And not paying attention to their driving. They've got a million things in their mind. They've got to go pick up this gift. This place closes at such and such. Did I get my coupon? What am I doing over here? Did the kids get their thing? And they're thinking, lastly, unfortunately, sometimes about driving. You've got to be careful out there, not so much for your own driving, but looking out for the other folks.
Absolutely. All right, we'll take a short break. We'll be back after these messages.
The restaurant we've all been waiting for is here. Introducing Ipan Mano Kitchen. Critically acclaimed chef Silva Sennett and his culinary team specialize in new American Asian cuisine. The very best in Chinese, Japanese, Thai food with an American flair. Open daily for lunch and dinner, Ipan Mano Kitchen is located inside the Patrick Henry Mall in Newport News. Call 249-0033 and log on to ipanmanokitchen.com. Find them on Twitter at Ipan Mano.
The place people look for their holiday light needs are NRA Holiday Lights. Let the professionals at NRA decorate the exterior of your home and business without you lifting a hand. Get $100 off a $1,000 purchase. Call 355-5276 and log on to NRA.com. Light up your home or business this holiday season with NRA. Call 355-5276 today.
Hello, this is Big Bear inviting you to visit myself and Grandma Bear at Little Bear's Consignment Boutique, where you'll find the best new and gently used children's brand name clothing and equipment. Clothing from newborn to teens. Dresses, suits, shoes, strollers, bassinets, toys, and anything else you need. Little Bear's is your stop. We even carry maternity clothes. Check us out on Facebook or stop in 200 North Battlefield Boulevard in the Harbor Watch Shops of Chesapeake near the locks. Little Bear's Consignment Boutique, where you're always greeted with a smile.
The place for authentic Indian food is the India Palace. They feature authentic Indian cuisine, have a party hall, and do catering and banquets. Open daily for lunch and dinner, they feature an excellent lunch buffet at their 2 establishments. Visit the 2 locations, 1437 Sam's Drive in Chesapeake off Battlefield and 5600 Virginia Beach Boulevard. Online, IndiaPalaceVB.com. On Facebook, look for India Palace Virginia Beach and India Palace Bar and Grill. Call 410-1183 for the India Palace. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
Turn down for what? Turn down for what? Turn down for what?
All right, welcome back right here to Sports Scene every Wednesday, 12 to 1. Also want to thank Sonny Dirth for putting the TV radio log of the Daily Press right there on page 2. Look at the radio log, TV log as well. Don't forget sports highlights on Mondays on NNPS TV, Cox Cable 47, 517 in Newport News, as well Channel 47 and 517, like we said, on nnpstv.com. Mondays at 7 a.m., 2 p.m., and 7 p.m., weekends at 9 a.m. Sports Scene, of course, right here every Wednesday live on the radio on 1650 a.m. Also, tunein.com. Type in WHKT as well. Tell your friends, of course. Find me on Twitter, at GregBick, at Sports Highlight, at GJBTV, and HROnlineMall.com as well. Don't forget, we got What Tees Me Off. Happy holidays to everyone. Please drive careful, of course, on the radio, 1650 a.m., on the computer and the phone, tunein.com. Let's welcome Ethan Blau from our Business Spotlight scene. Ethan, how are you, my friend?
Good. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Let's talk about your business. Tell us all about it in Virginia Beach.
Yes, sir. We have a car stereo and accessory shop. It's called Soundwave Customs. We're conveniently located right across the street from Lynn Haven Mall on the opposite side of Lynn Haven over by the steel factory. We one of the largest shops in Hampton Roads area or the Tidewater area, where we customize and install, anywhere from radio replacement to speaker replacement to full, custom fiberglass woodwork. We do a lot of marine audio, motorcycles, and the whole 9 yards, window tinting, leather upholstery, and remote vehicle starters, car security. The list pretty much goes on.
Right. Absolutely. Talking to Ethan Blau right here. And what's the biggest need you're noticing for the holiday season?
The biggest need usually always during the holidays, Greg, is remote starts. Everybody, it's a great present. It's fairly inexpensive. You could get one for about $250 installed. And who doesn't want to be able to remote start their vehicle, especially in the winter to get it warm, or even in the summer to keep it cool.
And you can see the custom link right there on HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com or GJBTV.com. Spell your full business name.
SOUNDWAVECUSTOMS.
And how do people interact with you? I know you're big into social media as well as the websites.
Yeah, we're big on Google. We're on, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Definitely have an amazing website, which is SoundwaveCustoms.com. And then of course we do a lot of local shows. I know we have the Hampton Roads Auto Show coming up that we're going to have a couple demo vehicles at the second weekend in January, the 9th, 10th, and 11th at the Convention Center. And then of course we'll be at the Marine Show a month after that, or the Boat Show at the same place.
Being in the audio business that you are, do you have a critical eye and ear sometimes when you when you go out?
Yeah, you have to in this industry to to fine tune and to kind of judge from what the customer asks us to do. Most customers that come in looking for a custom system or any type of system, we could try our best to demo it in store, but it's not really a 100% ideal world. It's not going to sound exactly in the same in our store that it is in your vehicle. And of course, every vehicle differs from space to dynamics and imaging and all that for sound quality. So I usually base it off of customers' wants and needs, what kind of music they listen to, and all that good stuff, and try to hit the head on the nail and For the most part, we're usually, correct. I've been doing this for 16 plus years, and all my guys have about 20 plus years experience. So, we're all veterans in the industry.
Very good. Right here, wrapping it up here with Ethan Blau, of course. Phone number 648-8888. Go ahead and give us your address one more time and how people can get a hold of you in store hours during the normal non-holiday time.
Yes, sir. Our address is 2700 Avenger Drive, Virginia Beach, Virginia, 23452, which is right across from the Toys R Us in front of Lynn Haven Mall, that same stoplight. And you could, like you said, call us 757-648-8888. And, you could write us email, soundwaves, plural, VB, @gmail.com. Mm-hmm. There's also a link on the website as well. And, Facebook, Instagram, you could message us or write us on there.
Very good. Happy holidays, my friend, and we will talk to you soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Happy holidays to you guys, too, and everybody out there.
Very good. That was Ethan Blau right there of Soundwave Systems, of course, real gentleman. Ken, we'll take a short break, and we'll be back with more of Sports Scene after these messages.
Good Italian food, daily specials, and a place people enjoy is Spaghetti Eddie's. Indulge in your mouth-watering pizza, pasta, subs, salads, appetizers, and desserts. Open 7 days a week. Log on to SpaghettiEddiesPizzaCafe.com and visit them at Taylor Road and on Eden Way North in Chesapeake for lunch and dinner. Like them on Facebook. Italian food you can count on is at Spaghetti Eddie's.
The restaurant we've all been waiting for is here. Introducing Ipan Mano Kitchen. Critically acclaimed chef Silva Sennett and his culinary team specialize in new American Asian cuisine. The very best in Chinese, Japanese, Thai food with an American flair. Open daily for lunch and dinner, Ipan Mano Kitchen is located inside the Patrick Henry Mall in Newport News. Call 249-0033 and log on to ipanmanokitchen.com. Find them on Twitter at Ipan Mano.
The place people look to for their holiday light needs is Inarray Outdoor Lights. Let the professionals at Inarray decorate the exterior of your home and business without you lifting a hand. Get $100 off a $1,000 purchase. Call 355-5276 and log on to Inarray.com. Light up your home or business this holiday season with Inarray. Call 355-5276 today. Now back to Greg Bicouvaris and Sports Scene in the Hampton Roads Online Mall.com studio.
And welcome back to Sports Scene. Hope you enjoyed all of our great sports guests. Matt Maiocco from CSN Bay Area. We're on every Wednesday from 12 to 1 right here on 1650 AM. Also, tunein.com. Type in WHKT. Matt was talking about the San Francisco 49ers and the drama there with Jim Harbaugh. It's kind of hard to believe he's got any drama when he went 13-3, 11-4-1, 12-4. This year he's 7-8. He's not going to the postseason, but he's made it 3 of the 4 years. He was a great player at Michigan, great coach at Stanford. If he went to the Raiders, he wouldn't even have to move from Stanford to the 49ers to the Raiders. But who would think you'd need a brand new coach in 2015 after leading your team to the postseason for 3 of the 4 years you've been a head coach just because you don't get along with the general manager? Ken, what teased me off?
What teased you off? Presented by GJBTV.com.
I would pretty much say unanswered phone calls and texts is not good because you're putting the effort out. And if you don't hear anything, it's like lack of respect. But see, what happens is when you don't talk on the phone and you rely just on that type of communication, Ken, it's really can be toxic.
Yeah, and you've got to communicate. Communication is the most important thing. I've lived my life by it. Communication is the most vital thing in the world. And if you don't communicate, it's so simple. I don't understand why people aren't more proactive about it.
It takes 2 seconds to text. But the thing is, too, it seems like communication is always relevant even more during the holiday season. You hear it all the time. I was talking to a friend of mine who was is a dispatcher. Her phones are always ringing off the hook.
Yeah.
This time of the year. Pop-up ads, no matter whether it's your phone or your computer, they just seem to never go away, and always these solicitations of emails from Dear Madam or Dear Sir.
And I'll tell all you advertisers now, if you have on the internet a pop-up or even worse, a rollover ad, which is even worse than the pop-ups, I will not go to your business. I will not do business with you. If you've got an ad on the side and it's a nice ad and it's not too and the animated ads, the ads that suck up all of your memory just to have some little GIF running, I'm not going to patronize you. But if you got a nice ad with a nice picture, it looks a nice ad, but it's over to the side, I will do business with you. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of people probably agree.
And I totally agree with that because, I've got my retail mall website, HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. They don't pop up and fly, folks, like UFOs. They stay in one place. HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com. Browse, shop, and visit. You go to some of these other electronic media websites, I'm being very nice, and they're flying around like airplanes. People don't have time to spin around like that. You go to HamptonRoadsOnlineMall.com, you browse, you shop, you visit without any interference. Ken, all the euphoria of holidays, it seems like it's a lot of highs, and then there's a lot of lows.
It's a lot of lows if things don't go exactly right. We build up so much anticipation and an image of what we want it to be, what it should be. And, of course, that's fueled by some of the media, too. It all should look like some kind of Christmas postcard, Courier and Ives. Very rarely is it ever like that. We often color our past memories a little bit of rose and would like to have it be like the old days. It can't be. Those days are gone. So it's a tough time for a lot of people expecting one thing, getting something else. The reality doesn't always match up the fantasy. So it's a tough time of year for a lot of folks.
Everybody wearing red on TV on Christmas, Ken? Everybody? Really?
Red used to be anathema on television except for Christmas, so I guess they all try to cram it in at one time.
We mentioned the euphoria of holidays. It's best to be even-keeled. Like the old Greeks saying, everything in moderation, not too high, not too low, because usually when you get one or the other, you're going to get let down 99% of the time.
Yeah, and don't overdo.
Yes. Ken, I need you to elaborate here. We got a few more minutes here. We also talk about people being stressed for the holidays. Oh, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this. I got to do that. When the reality is that there's still 24 hours in a day, regardless of what you got to do.
Absolutely. Yeah. And is it really worth it? I know you want to do this, you want to do that. You've got all these expectations, things you would like to get done, but in the grand scheme of things, if you don't buy this present, if you don't get this thing cooked, if you don't go to visit this person, you don't get that card mailed out, is it really the end of the world? Right. Is anybody going to tell you that they don't want to be your friend or relative anymore? Is anyone going to get divorced over it? No.
One thing you've noticed, snail mail is way down. You don't see mails and letters. You still get them, but now that with all this technology, people just don't do it anymore.
Well, I used to send out cards, and everyone listening, if you didn't get a card from me this year, it's because we couldn't afford the ink and the printer. We just had a baby, all the money's going out to the doctors and stuff.
Well, of course, you have a lot to be happy for, of course, like my niece Maria, Ken's kids as well. And you talk about just when you're trying to get ahead on the national news, Ken, it seems like there's another police shooting all the time.
Unbelievable.
Another one.
And anyone who criticizes what the police do should be required to go out, spend time in the academy, get trained, and then do a ride-along. See what they deal with every single day, sometimes for 12 hours at a shot.
Right.
Find out what they have to deal with. Walk in their shoes, literally, for a while. And then, if you still think you've got a criticism, go ahead. But in the meantime, you can't just sit back in your armchair and say that the police are wrong.
Yeah, it's almost like, respect them. They're in their uniform. They're doing their job, whether it's the firemen, the police, and those two sorry souls that got killed and assassinated last week. It's so sad to hear that in New York. That's just one of the worst days since 9/11. They were just doing their job.
And for no good reason other than political purposes. I have to feel like there's a lot of politics behind all the protests, all the stirring up of anger and hatred. But keep in mind, everybody that has been shot by a police officer was a criminal. They were breaking the law. No innocent person was shot and killed. They were all engaged in some crime of some kind. Maybe they weren't out murdering people. Maybe they weren't planning to blow up buildings, but they were involved in crime. They were criminals, so they brought it on themselves.
Last question. Your thoughts? January 6th will not be a happy holidays or happy new year for the former governor. What's your gut feeling, Ken, with the sentencing? They're talking community service. That ain't going to happen.
I don't know if it will or not. There may be some consideration for it. He could do a lot of good. I tell you, if he would man up and get up a campaign to repeal the ERC and the tolls, then there'd be a lot more sympathy for him. I think people are kind of angry over the tolls, so they're feeling like, all right, throw him in jail and that sort of thing. I would like to see
some punishment, but I don't think it's fair for Bob McDonnell to fall on the sword for pretty much doing what every other governor in that position just about has done, including the sitting governor, McAuliffe, has done the exact same things, even worse in some cases. He has not been indicted. Tim Kaine, same things. He was not indicted. So if you're going to do a blanket, a blanket indictment, indict them all,
Yep.
or don't make an example out of Bob McDonnell. It's
But
not fair.
the former governor of, is having some issues here, and we'll see what happens to him. We don't wish anybody any harm, but it doesn't look good. I want to thank our great guest, Matt Maiocco from CSN Bay Area, talking 49ers, Andy Hilton, talking Recruit 757 football, Tom Wilburn and Ethan Blau in our Business Spotlight segments. Also for highlights and what teased me off, Merry Christmas to all. We'll be back for our New Year's edition next week for Sports Scene. Archive shows, go to gjbtv.com, hit the YouTube link. Find me on Twitter at Greg Bick, at Sports Highlight, at GJBTV and HROnlineMall.com. For Ken Johnson, I'm Greg Bicouvaris. We'll talk to you soon.
AM 1650 WHKT Portsmouth, it's 1 p.m.
Lifestyle